G'day gamers, Ranger Tony here with another Baldur's Gate tutorial video. Today we're going to look at a wizard creation guide. First of all, I just want to remind you this is based on the early access content in the game, so I cannot guarantee that it is 100% accurate on the final release of the game. But I don't see there's going to be huge amounts of information, possibly just more subclass options and things like that. So let's dive on in and have a look. Right, so the wizard. Wizards master the arcane by specializing in individual schools of magic, combining ancient spells with modern research. Now, the first thing to note with the wizard is you don't have any subclasses to begin with. You can specialize in a school of magic later on, but initially you're just a wizard. We get to choose our spells. I'll really briefly talk about these options here first, and then we'll come back and look at the spells. So you start with 6 hit points per level. We are playing an elf who has their constitution set to 14, so that is why we are at 8 hit points per level. But yeah, be aware that you have less hit points than everyone else. You have access to arcane spells. Pretty straightforward. Intelligence and wisdom saving throws will be very useful to help you basically fend off spells that are cast against you. You have very limited proficiencies in weapons and armor. You have no armor, and you are proficient in daggers, darts, slings, quarterstaffs, and light crossbows. If you saw my character creation guide, you will know that I recommend that you do not actually use a weapon. I guess you can keep it in your hand if you really want to, but I find as a wizard weapons are useless. You should be using a cantrip to do some damage every single round. That's just my opinion. You also get the action Arcane Recovery, which once per day outside of combat allows you to replenish expended spell slots. So that allows you to get more spells back that you can cast that you've already used. So that is very handy. Let's have a look at the cantrips that are available. This is a reasonable selection of cantrips. So they have selected Firebolt, which in my opinion is the go-to damage-dealing cantrip. 1d6 of fire damage. You also have Ray of Frost, which is 1d8 of cold. Another good damage-dealing. The only other really good damage-dealing... Chill Touch does do damage, and it's necrotic damage, so that's really quite good, and it's a ranged one. The other one is Shocking Grasp, which is touch-based. You have to touch your opponent. It does 1d8 as well. Those are all pretty good options. The other ones that I like, Blade Ward is nice as a really quick... It's like a quick shield spell, right? For just a couple of rounds, it increases your resistance to bludgeoning, piercing, and slashing from conventional weapons. So I would actually take out the mage hand that they provide, and I would put Blade Ward in as the replacement. The only other ones that I like is the Light Cantrip is good if you are playing a character who doesn't have Darkness Vision, Intravision, whatever you want to call it. Most of the others are pretty wishy-washy and nothing too spectacular, but you can make use of them. I've used Dancing Light to distract opponents and things like that, so they are useful, but I tend to find I would use those three more than anything. The spells that you're allowed to pick, you can pick 6 spells from the 19 that are available. They have chosen Mage Armor, which is a good spell, and you definitely want to use this, so cast it. I think it lasts for quite a while, so cast it early and keep it going on you. Fog Cloud I do not like. It disadvantages you as much as it does your opponents, so I tend to get rid of it. Grease is useful, but again it can disadvantage you if any of your companions want to be in melee range of an opponent. But again, it's a grease surface, and this game is based on the Divinity engine, so you can light it up with fire and it will light up any opponents caught in it, so it's not too bad to keep. Thunder Wave is okay. It does do a lot of damage at 2d8, but the problem is it's very close range. It has to be within 5 meters, and it's hard to use that without inflicting damage on your companions as well. So I would tend not to use it. It's more one of those, if I had it in a scroll and it's a moment of last resort, I'll use it. But every day or every encounter, I'm not going to use it because I'm not going to be able to be in a position. It's not safe for me to be in a position where I can get back close to opponents to use it. Sleep. Everyone used to love sleep as a spell, first level, 30 years ago, but it's a terrible spell because it only works on 24 hit points or less. So I don't know if that now means that if you've injured a high-level opponent and they're at 24 hit points or less, it will work. But generally, it means that even some of the single opponents that you come across early game, they will have too many hit points for you to be able to use sleep on them. So I tend to not bother with sleep. Burning Hands is a good spell. 3d6 of damage, but like Thunder Wave, it's very close range, within 5 meters. So I'm not a big fan of that. Charm Person is all right. It does last for a while, but I'm not a huge fan of it. And I've actually seen the AI of one of my companions attack a charmed companion who walked past. So I'm not sure if that works. So what I'm getting at is I charmed an opponent. That opponent moved close to one of my companions, and I'm pretty sure they attacked and killed as an attack of opportunity. So there may be a bug there. I'm not sure. Use that as you wish. Color Spray, again, it's very close range, and again, it has a limit on how many hit points of creatures it works on. So really early game in a desktop role-playing D&D game, it can be a good spell, but I found in this game, it's not. You always have too many opponents that this would not work on a big enough group. They've all got too many hit points. Disguise Self, I'm not big on. It's not really my sort of thing. Expeditious Retreat, you don't have to use this to retreat. It just allows you to move. So if you want that, take it, but I wouldn't. False Life, 5 temporary hit points. At first level, that's going to do a little bit for you, but once you get up high levels, it's nothing. Use it on a scroll if you want to use it, if you can find it. Featherfall is nice, but it's very, very, very situational. You're not going to have a lot of times when you're going to use it, so it's another one that I would use from scrolls and not bother learning myself. Find Familiar, I haven't played with familiars yet, so I'm not sure how well that works, but certainly you could do that. As I said, I didn't like Fog. Jump triples your jumping distance. Again, very situational, but you can already use jump to disengage in combat and jump away. So this would allow you to jump even further away, particularly if there's a large group around. So that it might be worthwhile. Long Strider, again, increases your movement speed. Could very well be useful, but only it lasts for a while, so that's good. Magic Missile is the default mage spell, and it's actually not that bad. You look at it initially and go, 3 darts of magical force, 1d4 plus 1. That's not a lot. At first level, it is a lot, because the original magic missile in D&D was 1 magic missile at first level, and then an extra magic missile every 3 levels you were beyond that. Which meant at high levels you could have a cloud of magic missiles coming out, which was really nice. Here, it's now just limited to 3, but it still means that you're going to do between 6 and I think 16 points of damage based on 1d4 plus 1 times 3. So 1d4 plus 1 is 2 to 5, so it's 6 to 15, points of damage. So it's not bad at early game. So I would take that. Protection from Good and Evil. Again, it protects against fiends, celestials, elementals, fays, fiends, and undead. But is that useful enough for you to use all the time, or is it better to take it off a scroll? I don't know. Ray of Sickness. It has a good range. It does poison damage, so I would take that. What's the one that we haven't taken yet that I would take? Probably Longstrider, because it lasts longer. And those are the spells that I would take at first level. And then, of course, we have Witch Bolt, which does 1 to 12 points of lightning damage. And then for additional 2 turns, you can reactivate it if you can keep concentration going and continue to do more damage. But you have to activate it again. You have to click on the thing again and say activate. So that is the options that I would choose there. And then you have to prepare just 4 of those spells for use of a day, and I would probably get rid of Grease there and put maybe Ray of Sickening in initially, and then we've got 1 defensive and 3 offensive spells available. So that's the basic class. What races work well for wizards? Well, wizards' primary attribute is intelligence. So the High Elf that we are right now, you get a bonus of +1 to intelligence, so that works well. Some of the tieflings, the Asmodeus tiefling and the Mephistopheles tiefling, they have bonuses to intelligence, so they would work well. Humans, because you get a +1 to all, will work well. Githyanki, you have a +1 to intelligence, so that will work well. The dwarves don't have any bonuses, but if you wanted to play something different, you don't see many dwarvish wizards, so you could certainly do that. Half-elf, you could change the 2, so maybe take 1 out of the wisdom and put it there, and you could do that, and then you're also getting a +2 to charisma, which is nice. Halflings don't have any real advantages, but the bonus to dexterity and luck could be useful as a halfling wizard. I'm going to go with the default high elf because I think that works well. You do get the added some added weapon proficiencies that you would not normally get, and you've got dark vision, so you don't need to use a light spell as well. Origins. There is only a couple of origins that really, I feel, speak well to a mage, a wizard. Acolyte is sort of... I probably wouldn't use it. The Guild Artisan is probably one that I would consider using, and that's mainly because it has Persuasion, and Persuasion is a very useful skill for early in the game. Well, not just early, at all times in the game. If you need to be able to talk to people and persuade them to your point of view. Insight is also useful, which allows you to, see if they're, perceive if they're lying and all that sort of stuff. You could go Noble, which has history and persuasion. That would be another option that would be interesting. Hermit works well as well with medicine, but you've got religion in there, which doesn't always fit. But the main one is Sage, Arcana, and History. But it is so cliched to be the sage wizard. So I think I'm probably going to go back to the Guild Artisan because I want that persuasion in there. So we've done class, we've done race, we've done origin. Let's look at our abilities now. So this ability point buy that they use, the recommended one, is actually pretty good. Now, normally I don't like minuses anywhere, and that deficit in strength is not a problem though, because all that's going to affect is your ability to do damage with strength-based weapons, how far you can jump, and what weight you can carry, right? So jumping is useful to get out of danger in combat, but that's, and you sometimes need to jump to move around in the environment because there's no other way. But big deal, you can get a spell that can make you jump further. And you carry weight, you've got 3 other people to carry stuff for you. So I don't have too many concerns about that. You want some dexterity because you cannot wear armor. So your armor class at the moment would be 12, which isn't great. And that's why the mage armor spell that you prepare and use every day, you want, because that will then get you to 15 because it adds +3. And then this blade ward would help you a little bit as well. You have very few hit points, so you really want some constitution there. So the +2 in constitution is very good. Intelligence is your primary attribute, so that should always be the highest. That little bit of charisma there is going to help with your persuasion checks, so that is good. You could take that out and try and put it elsewhere. It won't fix up the strength bonus though, because I believe you need 2 points. Oh no, you could do that, but I don't know. I think personally I would keep it like that. I think this point buy is pretty good. Skills then. We are being given in Arcana and Investigation as our two main ones, and in fact they're probably what I would keep. Arcana, Insight and Investigation are the ones that I would take there. That just helps you to recognize spells and the like. This helps you to work out if people are lying, and this helps you to deduce information and extract information from people and objects and stuff like that. All important things to have in your party, and all really important things to have on the primary character, because you often can't get anyone else in your party to do that. Unlike games like Pathfinder Kingmaker, which would allow you to use other members of the party to make some of those skill checks sometimes, it doesn't seem to allow you to do that in Baldur's Gate 3. So that's that. That's the basis of the build. What would I say about playing the character? You are the damage sponge. Every encounter, they are going to target you, because that's the way the AI is set up. Spellcasters of any kind are targeted. So clerics, warlocks, and wizards are targeted first, and they will keep targeting you. If you get knocked down, they will hit you again. Even if you are down, sometimes they will keep attacking you to actually, because once you are down, you only get unconscious, and if no one resurrects you, they will still attack you to make sure that you actually die. So be aware of that. You cannot survive in the front line. You are going to need to be very, very careful. You're going to need to keep yourself buffed, whether it's with your spells to protect you or anyone else's that can offer spells. Any scroll that you find that can help to buff you in any way, use it, and keep a lot of healing potions, a lot of food, and keep a cleric close by, because you are definitely going to need it. Anything that you can find to increase your armor class or hit points, use them. Anything that you can find to protect you, you're going to need. Eventually, though, you are going to do a lot of damage with some of the spells that you've got. So just be aware of that. You are going to be very powerful, but you're going to be very squishy to begin with. Anyway, that is the Wizard class creation guide. I hope you enjoyed this video. If you did, leave us a comment down below, and I will see you for the next video. Thanks a lot. Bye.